Imagine this. Sarah, a 28-year-old marketing manager, is sitting in a cafe across from two men. One is 29 years old, holds a prestigious job with a high salary, and the other is 42, has an average appearance, and a middle-class income. Logically, Sarah would choose the younger man, but something draws her to the older man, and she can't explain why. They haven't broken up after 3 months. What happened? The answer isn't what you think. By the end of this video, you'll understand the psychological force that makes some older men so attractive to women, regardless of their looks or wealth. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I explore the psychology behind human behavior and relationships in a meaningful way. Today, we're going to delve into one of the most misunderstood aspects of modern romantic relationships. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because this is information most people won't tell you. Part 1. Myth versus reality. Let's start with the hidden problem. When people talk about why women are attracted to older men, they often cite the usual reasons: money, social status, maturity, or even biological factors related to security and stability. And of course, these factors may play a role. But here's what the research actually shows, and it's far more interesting than the common stereotypes. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology followed more than 12,000 participants of varying ages and relationship types. The results surprised even the researchers themselves. When women described what they found most attractive in a partner, especially if he was older, financial stability was not the most important factor. There was no physical attraction, no emotional maturity in the traditional sense. There was what's called a safe space. Now, before you click on this and think it's just another list of terms, bear with me, because this concept is backed by decades of research and psychological understanding. It can completely change how you view relationships. Part 2. What is secure presence? Secure presence is feeling completely comfortable with yourself without needing external approval to feel good about yourself. It is the opposite of trying to prove anything. It is the absence of the anxious power that says, please love me, please approve of me, please leave me alone. Dr. Judith Siegel, a clinical psychologist who has studied love and attraction for over 30 years, explains it this way. When someone has a secure presence, they create a safe psychological space simply by being themselves. They don't have to fill every moment of silence, impress you with their successes, or fail when tested. They simply exist in their entirety. This is why it's so important for women, especially when it comes to older men. Our brains are wired to detect authenticity on a subconscious level. When someone is overpromising or putting on an act, what psychologists call the conformity test is activated. In short, our nervous system detects a gap between what the person is showing and who they really are, generating a subtle sense of unease. But when someone is confident, there's no contradiction. What you see is what you get. And in the modern dating world, where everyone creates their own image, this consistency is extremely rare. Try to say the right things and always strive for validation through likes and compliments. Part 3. The neuroscience behind attractiveness. Now let's look at the science of the brain, because it gets really interesting. When a woman meets a man with a strong and attractive presence, something unusual happens in her nervous system. The amygdala, the part of her brain responsible for sensing danger, begins to relax. At the same time, the ventral striatum, the part of the parasympathetic nervous system that controls feelings of safety and social interaction, becomes more active. She's almost unconscious. Don't think self-confidence will make you sexually aroused. Instead, feel calm, peaceful, and secure. That's the secret. In a world full of stress, anxiety, and constant stimulation, it's wonderful to feel completely at ease with someone. Studies at the Gottman Institute show that women consistently report being more attracted to partners who make them feel emotionally connected. More than their friends, more than their partners, more experience and the erosion of ego. By the time most men reach their late 30s and 40s, they've experienced enough failure, rejection, and humiliation to accept the reality that they aren't perfect. They've been fired from their jobs, they've made mistakes and learned from them. This process undoubtedly weakens the insatiable desire to appear perfect that grips so many young men. The developmental psychologist Erik Erikson called this stage the birth and decline phase, which typically occurs between the ages of 40 and 65. In this phase, individuals transition from trying to prove their worth to living their true values. They stop performing and begin to exist. Think of it that way. A 25-year-old is still discovering himself. He experiments with different identities, seeks peer approval, builds his career, and is often unsure of his place in the world. This isn't his fault. It's simply a stage of his development. A 45-year-old man with a background in psychology knows who he truly is. He's reached his limit. He no longer strives to be the most attractive person in the room because he realizes that this doesn't bring satisfaction. This acceptance creates a very appealing consistency. Part 5, real-life examples. Let me give you a concrete example of what this looks like in practice. Imagine two men on their first date. The first man, let's call him Mike, is 27 years old. During dinner, Mike meticulously mentions his job, talks about his exercise routine, and refers to influential people he knows, carefully observing his date's reaction to everything he says. His energy is directed toward others. He seeks validation. The second son, David, is 43 years old. He asks honest questions and listens attentively to the answers. He is comfortable pausing during a conversation. He doesn't become defensive when his partner disagrees with him. He is curious. When the host makes a mistake in his request, he handles it calmly and tactfully, rather than trying to dominate. The power lies within. Who do you think will attract more women at the end of the night? Psychological research on attraction consistently shows that women respond more strongly to the feeling a man gives them than to his personality or appearance. Self-confidence makes a woman feel seen, safe, and valued in a way that external achievements and looks cannot easily replicate. Part 6. The dark side and misconceptions. Now, I must clarify an important point. Not everyone of school age is self-confident, and self-confidence is not exclusive to older adults. Some older adults, just like younger people, lack self-confidence and seek acceptance. Simply put, they hide it or develop different coping mechanisms. Some young men possess this quality innately, a result of difficult experiences that have led them to develop it at a young age. Let's be clear. Commitment is not the same as apathy or indifference. Some men conflate apathy with commitment, but they are opposites. Commitment means being fully present and actively involved, without expecting any specific outcome, with the goal of achieving self-satisfaction. Emotional insecurity is avoiding relationships. The difference between the two is fundamental. The former attracts people, while the latter repels them. Part 7. Can this trait be cultivated? Here's the most important question. Can self-confidence be cultivated, or must one wait until old age? The good news is that it is entirely possible to cultivate this confidence, but it requires an internal effort that most people hesitate to make. Here are the key points. First, you need to address your attachment patterns. If you have anxious attachment patterns, you'll find it difficult to find a safe space because you constantly need to validate yourself. Psychotherapy, especially techniques like eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, or the inner family system, can help heal early attachment wounds. Second, you need to have a realistic experience with failure and how to recover from it. You can't imagine how you can gain self-confidence. You have to face challenges and believe in yourself, even when things don't go as planned. That's why confidence often comes with age, but you can accelerate it by taking real risks. Third, you need to develop a strong internal reference point. This means knowing your values, trusting your judgment, and being prepared to be disliked simply for being true to yourself. This is perhaps the most difficult part, as it clashes with our social context. Fourth, practice mindfulness and awareness of the present moment. Mindfulness means being present in the moment rather than letting your mind wander and worrying about appearances. Meditation, physical exercises, and even some forms of therapy can help develop this skill. Let's return then to Sarah from the beginning of this video. What attracted her to the old man wasn't his age itself, but his character, honed over the years, his failures, and the comfort of his life. He possessed a confident spirit. And in a world where everyone strives for pretense and acceptance, that character could be seen as a symbol in the fog. The best thing you can do is not be rich, or fat, or even particularly attractive. That's right. Be completely yourself, without shame and without needing anyone's permission to be who you are. If this video gave you a new perspective on attraction and relationships, hit the like button and tell me in the comments what quality you find most attractive in a partner. If you'd like to delve deeper into the psychology of relationships, watch my video on relationship styles above. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.